Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Wade Watches, on mobile edition. So this is an out of theater reaction to, well, not, no, it's not just a reaction. This is going to be my full review. So this is my out of theater review for Guardians of the Galaxy. There's the theater right there. I'm still in the park. This is actually my second time seeing Volume 3. For those of you who follow me on Instagram, you know that the first time that I saw it was in IMAX. This time I saw it in the format of Real D 3D, and just, technical, just speaking to my, I guess, technical or preferences, or my format preferences, I would definitely go with IMAX for this one. Yeah, man, 3D these days, it's not really good unless it's something directed by James Cameron, unfortunately. I feel like some Marvel movies did it better, can pull it off, but not the case with this one. Didn't really make much of a difference. But anyway, so yeah, there's my format note if you care. See it in IMAX. You get 3D, not worth it. But anyway, on to the actual movie itself. So having seen it a second time, I can say that it's a solid send off. I think that was really the ultimate goal that writer and director James Gunn had in mind here, was to just give these characters one last ride. And by the way, this is spoiler free, so I'm not going to get into the plot or anything like that. But he wanted to give these characters one last great adventure, and he succeeded in doing that. That being said, it is not a perfect movie by any stretch of the imagination. Um, it and I think that the gripes that I have are, firstly, the villain was like pre-Thanos and pre-Killmonger MCU quality. Like, he just kind of hails from that time when Marvel was kind of struggling with their villains. He kind of reminded me a little bit of who am I thinking of? I had somebody and then I lost it. Um Little bit of Kylo Ren from the new Star Wars trilogy, and a little bit of Darren Cross from Ant-Man. That's kind of what I'm thinking of here. When he gets agitated, he screams like this. He wants to create the perfect utopia. That's been done before. And it could still be done well. I mean, that's technically what Thanos wanted. He just wanted to accomplish it in a different way than this guy, the High Evolutionary. But that's technically what Thanos wanted. So that can be done well when, it's executed more perfectly. And I was honestly disappointed by the villain here. Sorry, guys. He was just kind of a letdown, especially following Kurt Russell's ego, who I thought was a much more complex villain than what we got here. And that guy wanted to do the same thing, world domination, create the perfect universe. But I thought Ego from Volume 2 was a much more complex villain than this guy. I think Kurt Russell showed more range in that role than cannot pronounce this guy's name. He's a solid actor. I love him as Murn and Peacemaker. But here I feel like he was just told to be, kind of angry and aggressive and super condescending. So wasn't a fan of the villain. And that's saying something, because he's a massive part of the story. He's not just some throwaway one and done villain. He's not just, a background character. He's a huge part of this story. We spent a lot of time with him, and I just wasn't feeling him. So that's gripe number one. Gripe number two, I feel like the flashbacks present in this movie, not going to say what they were about, were kind of like anchoring like the whole emotional core of this movie, and kind of made for, that kind of, the flashbacks really was like pretty much the core of this movie. I feel like if the flashbacks were removed, this would have been just, an average, not a bad Guardians movie, but just kind of like, I feel like if those, so that's what I'm gonna say. Like, they were somewhat of an anchor for this movie. And like I said, if they were removed, it just would have been like, oh, it's, it's okay, it's decent. So that's gripe too. But other than that, I had a decent time watching this movie. I did get emotional. I did get teary eyed, and I teared up both times I saw this in the theater. So, I can say whatever I want about the flashbacks, and that them kind of anchoring the movie, but man, man, if you know, it's been out for a while, and I'm sure some of you know what I'm talking about, but dang, man. So they were still exceptionally well done, and I'm glad they were in there. And yeah, I guess that's the thing as a whole. This movie is really about one of the individual Guardians characters. Everybody else, members of the Guardians of the Galaxy, really focuses on one in particular, and everybody else really feels like they're just kind of pushed in the background, and it's supposed to be a send off. So I wish that we got a little bit more of everybody's backstory as opposed to one character, because this is our last time with these guys, supposedly, at least. You know how Disney and Marvel are. But this is, for now, this is our last time with these characters, and I feel like too much time was spent on just one in particular. But that being said, that's not a terrible thing, because it was still incredibly well done, and this character definitely got the backstory that they deserved, and they kind of try and explain why they're spending so much time on this character, like halfway through something without another character says to him, like, oh, it's basically like, oh, well, this is your story. This has been your story the entire time. And then I guess they want you to look retrospectively back at the other Guardians movies and their appearances in Infinity War, and be like, oh yeah, it really was. But I want to see more of everybody else. What can I say? I do enjoy the Guardians characters, and I wish that for a movie that's supposedly their last, they were developed a bit more. All that in mind, though, this could have been much worse than it was. Marvel has been iffy in quality lately. There's no secret about that. So I feel like I got a decent Guardians movie, and another solid entry into the Guardians of the Galaxy franchise. And like I said at the very beginning of this review, this is a very solid send off. You leave feeling satisfied with this final movie in the Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy and the Guardians saga. So there's something to be said for that, and that's the most important thing at the end of the day. Flaws aside, because no movie is perfect, but I can't act like I didn't like or had tons of problems with a movie that gets this big emotional response out of me. And I don't mean I was on the verge of just full on crying in the theater, and I have no shame in that. There are some very emotionally powerful scenes in this movie. So because of that, because this movie got such a huge emotional response out of me, and because it just gave me the feels, I'm gonna look past the few gripes I had, because this was still a solid adventure, and I'm gonna give Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 an 8 out of 10. It's I did rewatch the other two. I'd say for now, maybe if I watch it a third time when it comes out on Disney Plus or whatever, for now, I prefer Volume 2 over Volume 1 and Volume 3. That is my favorite of the trilogy, but that could change. So once again, 8 out of 10 for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Very emotional send-off for these characters. Story was a bit iffy in my opinion. The villain just wasn't doing it for me, but it's still a solid movie and definitely worth checking out in theaters. This has been another edition of Wade Watches, and I'll see you all next time. Peace.